Hey guys, LEGO Master 365 here, and welcome to another review. And this isn't just a normal review, this is also a comparison. And the model we're going to be reviewing / comparing is the brand new, well not brand new, but new enough, Accurascale P Class. Now, for those of you who may not know, Accurascale didn't originally make the P Class. This is actually a bought tooling from Hattons. Hattons, of course, closed down in January of 2024, and they had a run of P Classes, or a new run of P Classes, in the works. Accurascale thankfully came along and purchased the toolings and decided to continue with production. Now, I had a Bluebell on pre-order from Hattons pretty much as soon as they announced a rerun of the P Classes, because these are some of my favorite little engines. That and the fact that Bluebell here is from the Bluebell Railway, and it was an engine that was very sorely missing from my 800 scale Bluebell fleet. Now, the Bluebell model is specifically a rerun. The other models that were in the second batch of P Classes were all new locomotives in terms of numbers. The paints carried over, but the numbers were paints that those engines hadn't been in previously. Bluebell is specifically a rerun because of how popular the original run of the Bluebell was. Now, this model is outstandingly beautiful. The blue is so deep and vibrant. The lettering is all gold and very shiny. Everything about this model just stands out as being a really nice model. Now, obviously, Hattons was a distributor first, manufacturer second, but they did pull out all the stops when it came to making locomotives, such as the P Class. Now, one thing they did fault in, because the original run of these was probably like 2018 or something like that, DCC was still kind of a new-ish concept, and, well, not really, but to the UK, DCC was a slightly newish concept, and so the DCC readiness of this is a 6-pin decoder rather than an 8 or a common 21-pin that we see nowadays. And because of the size of this engine, that carried over into the Accurascale run. However, they did manufacture DCC chips for these, so you can purchase a P-Class sound pack, or a sound chip, whatever you want to call it. Well, they aren't sound chips, they're just DCC. They didn't fit speakers in these, so these are just plain DCC engines. If you want to add sound to it, you're going to have to cut and mangle inside of this to try and get in there. But that doesn't negate the fact that this locomotive is just outstandingly beautiful in all terms of detail. There is a ton of cab detail inside there. As you can see, there's gauges and levers and everything. The coal bunker is beautifully lined on the back with a nice head of coal. The couplers don't stick out too far from the model, but it is noticeable, but that's just kind of what you expect with these hook and loop couplings. The underframe does have a little bit of detail. Modeled are the leaf springs, the fake axles as well, and the brake rigging is all molded detail on the underside here. Although the brakes is actually separately fitted, which is nice. There's also some sandboxes, and with really nicely picked out red sand pipes. There's some nice little brass gold detail down here for some steam pipes on both ends. Really, really beautiful and ornate. Everything about this model just screams beautiful Victorian-era tank engine. The P Classes are probably some of my favorite tank engines next to the shockingly Terrier class, but that really is all just carried over here. Now, you may notice that this engine is carrying a headboard. This is just to differentiate it from the rest of, or from the other P Class in this video, as we will be seeing very shortly. So it has a little Bluebell Railway headboard, which comes with the Hornby H Class, number 263. I'm pretty sure is the Bluebell numbered H Class. Now, as I just said before, and as I said at the beginning of the video, this isn't just a review, this is also a comparison. And as I said even some other point in the video, this specifically is a rerun, meaning that the first batch of P Classes also had the blue Bluebell. And I am happy to say that with the help from my friend John, as in I'm borrowing it for this video, I have an original Hattons run of the Bluebell P Class. So we're just going to be taking a look and seeing if anything is really noticeably different about these two engines. And off the bat, I can pretty much say that no, they are exactly the same engine. The crew here is added from the previous owner, as John bought this second-hand from the original owner, obviously. Well, they bought it from a model shop that bought it secondhand, and the original owner decided to fit them with a crew, which also helps differentiate these two models. Now, this could be from wear and tear or just age, but it does seem like the brass or the copper cap chimney on the old P Class is a little bit lighter in color than the gold. That also translates to the running board, so I am tempted to say, it really doesn't come across on camera, but I am tempted to say that this color differential is just age. Paint obviously can fade over time depending on how old the train is. You can kind of see a little bit better here that this running board is a little bit darker and richer, and this one is a little bit more faded and faint, or not faded and pale is the word I'm looking for. Other than that though, the blues are pretty much identical in every way, shape, and form. This has a little bit of grease and grime on it, again, just because of age and wear and tear from being used. There's a little bit of grime right there. That just rubbed right off. There's really, again, the roof as well kind of looks a little bit faded on this, even though it's all just kind of the same plain old white, but there's still a little bit of a difference to be had. All the pinstriping on both locomotives is pretty much identical. I can't really see anything different. It's all pretty much the same. All the paint is picked out in the right spots. Again, the red frames of the new model seem to be a little bit darker than that of the old one, but again, I'm willing to chalk that up just to age. And I think pretty much any fault I have with the paint choices here is just going to be age. I'm 90% sure that these are the same colors. I'm pretty sure that all the reds are the same colors, all the blues are the same colors. So it's really nice to see that Accurascale decided not to change anything about the toolings and just reran them directly as Hattons had delivered them. Now, obviously, these models were pretty far into production when Accurascale took over, so there really wasn't any changing the paint choice, so that's more up to Hattons not changing any of the paint options. Again, the only real difference here is the fact that the previous owner added a realistic coal load to this Bluebell, but that can be forgiven as, you know, just an aesthetic choice on the original owner. So with all that out of the way, I'm actually not going to be doing a running session on these engines as neither of them are DCC fitted, and to get this video put out in time, I don't really have a layout to run them around on. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys were thinking about getting a P Class from Accurascale, they actually seem to be doing a couple of runs of these. They keep ending up being back in stock. So if you haven't really decided on whether or not you want a P Class yet, and you're hoping that, or you thought that maybe they were sold out, keep checking Accurascale because they do seem to keep coming back into stock with all the previous runs. So an infinite amount of P Classes is nowhere near a problem in my books. I love the P Classes. As I said before, they're one of my favorite engines. But yeah, with that out of the way, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you're thinking about getting a P Class, I would highly recommend getting one. They are mostly reliable runners from everything I've seen. I've never had a problem with one of mine. Again, John's has a little bit of an issue where the wheel is skipping, but I think it's just a quartering issue that I can fix real quick, and I think that was a fault of the previous owner when they were fitting the driver figures and the coal and all that stuff. But either way, most of the time, the P Classes are 99% a good runner. I haven't had an issue with my Bluebell. I haven't had an issue with my Nettle. Pretty much none of my P Classes I've ever had issues with. They can pull their weight. It's really nice. They are really, really good engines. I will leave a link to Accurascale's page down in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and maybe subscribing to the channel. I have plenty more model reviews coming up on the way, so be sure to subscribe so you can stay tuned and check out when those videos come out. So thank you guys once again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!